sometimes you meet people who just have a vision, who want to take those ordinary experiences and bring them to life in ways that not only benefit those immediately around them, but their communities as well.
We in the barbershop with the spot.
I'm so excited to have this conversation today with Teto Wilson, the business owner, the barber, the visionary behind Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists. And today we're going to talk about his vision for what a barbershop can be and what he's doing to create that, bring that vision to life for people in North Minneapolis. I'm so excited to talk to you today about your work with Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists and really what your vision is for what barbershops can be. I know when we first talked about this, you said you had this idea many years before you really began that work of bringing this to life, and people kind of laughed at you and they couldn't see where you were going, but you still stayed on that track.
Absolutely, most certainly. So, I opened Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists in August of 2007. And to the point where you spoke about earlier about someone, people laughing at me. There was a barber that I worked with in Brooklyn Park. And, I've been telling him that, hey, I want to open my shop. I want to bring it to North Minneapolis. And he's like, why? Why would you want to go to North Minneapolis? And, to me, I didn't find anything strange about it. I mean, you hear the rumors of, different things that happen in North Minneapolis, some of the violence and all that kind of stuff. But to me, I looked at that like there's an opportunity there, because people, when there's violence, that means that people are hurting. So I looked at it as an opportunity to plant a barbershop in North Minneapolis that could provide people with resources that they need. Of course, there's a business component. I mean, we are a business, we cut hair and we get paid. But, I use the barbershop as a place, more than just for transactions. For me, it's about transformation. I needed my mound, a place to pitch from. And that's where I use the barbershop for. All the ideas, the things that I wanted to do, I didn't know how I was going to be received, like opening a barbershop in North Minneapolis. But I knew I was going to be very intentional about bringing forth some of the ideas that I had for the people. So, the first thing was to start the business there, get to learn the resident, and get to figure out where those pain points are to know, how to serve people best. And so, it's just, so now it's been 14 and a half, almost 15 years, and we are like well entrenched, have deep and widespread roots throughout the community. Not, so we're in North Minneapolis, and, I think majority, I'm sure about at least 75% of our customers, come from North Minneapolis, but we actually hit people from, different parts of the state. So, people see and people have been hearing about, the things that we do in the shop. And it's just been a, outpouring of support and love, from people coming in. Hey, we heard about the scholarship, or we heard about, we see the, the holiday giving, or, the community conversations with, educators or, police officials, and just so many other things that we get involved in.
Trust is crucial. How was the process for you of building trust in the community that you wanted to serve?
So to me, you build trust a few different ways. One is, saying what you're going to do and doing it, and continually showing up. Continually showing up when people see you, all the time, people see you in the neighborhoods. It's one thing to, say, hey, I'm going to open up a business in this part of town, and you're only there, during those business hours. So, people see me in my shop, people see me walking down the street, people see me in the grocery stores, people see me in other businesses throughout North Minneapolis. So, they become familiar with me over the years. And I stick to what I say I'm going to do. And if I can't do it, I give reasons why not. You know what I mean? So it's just, like I said, just consistency, continually showing up, and, you know, implementing new programs that, you know, benefit people. And over time, people, you know, they start to trust you and they believe it, and they actually look forward to, you know, whatever it is that you're going to be doing now or what you're going to be doing next. So that's how it's been working for me over the years.
And in addition to trust, a big piece of it too is transparency, where people see you, they know what they're going to get when they come to you. There is this expectation of this is more than a barber shop.
Let's just take one thing. So we've been doing COVID-19 vaccines in the shop now since July of last year, 2021. You have this huge organization called the Minnesota Department of Health, because that's who we're partnered with. You know, from the organizational standpoint, you think about Minnesota Department of Health and how big they are and how far reaching. You know, one thing that they don't have is the support and the trust from the community, our communities. You understand? And so they partner with somebody like me. They see the work that I've been doing over the years.
How long have you been coming here?
Since I moved here,
you know, I'm able to bridge that you know, that open space between them from that organizational support and the community. You know what I mean? So I'm not a medical professional by any stretch of the imagination. But if there's things that, you know, people in my community suffer from, and there's a barrier to people getting those resources or needs, then, you know, do your absolute best to educate me, you know, as much as I can. I want to be able to speak intelligently to people about what I'm presenting to them. So bring that sort of support in, and then you let me work with the people. You know what I mean? And then over time, you know, that synergy between, you know, the organization, me, and the community, it all comes together and marries. And so we've been pretty successful, you know, vaccinating, you know, probably over 1,000 people now. And a lot of those people came right from North Minneapolis, and believe it or not, we have people coming from different parts of the state, you know what I mean, getting vaccinated. You know, this is not just a one-time clinic. We've been doing this, you know, consistently every single weekend since the first week of July last year.
And really, when people come in to get a haircut, it's almost like therapy in some ways. People sit in your chair, they bring whatever they're dealing with that day. And over time, you're able to build that rapport where, you know, the customer is coming in for a service, but it's also a relationship with another person that maybe they feel comfortable talking to about some of the challenges that life might be throwing their way. So those relationships that you form, it's more difficult for an organization to come from the outside and say, hey, we have this thing, we're trying to reach this group. But you have built those relationships over years in many cases, so that some of those folks that, you know, could benefit from those services, they hear you differently than they may hear that medical professional just coming into their neighborhood in this one moment.
That's absolutely true. You know, it is amazing, you know, the amount of people that, you know, again, if we're just talking about COVID-19 vaccine, the amount of people that, you know, were like, nope, I'm not getting that vaccine. I don't trust it. I don't trust the medical professionals. I don't trust them. But, you know, if I tell them, hey, you know what, I've vetted these people. You know what I mean? I've built relationships with not just Minnesota Department of Health, but the doctors and nurses that come into the shop and do the vaccines. You know what I mean? And you can trust them. And they say, well, did you get the vaccine? I said, absolutely, I got the vaccine. You need to get it also. You know what I mean? And people have just come around. You know what I mean? Literally, I had one guy, he came in the shop, the nurses talked to him. He said, I'm not getting the vaccine. I talked to him before he left that shop that day, he got the vaccine. And this just comes from years. You know what I mean? I've been cutting this guy's hair since I opened up back in like 2007. You know what I mean? And just because I told him I did it and you need to do it, he took my word. And that's trust. You know, when people believe in you and they believe in what you represent, you know, and that's power. And when you've built that sort of power with people in community, you have to nurture that. You have to take care of it. you can't abuse it, because if you abuse it, then, so not only will people, continually have distrust in like medical field and other, areas that, has not been kind to African American communities, but they lose that trust in you. And people want to believe something. People want to believe somebody. And so if you've garnered that kind of trust, over the years, you better protect it. And I go hard, to make sure that I'm doing my very best. I don't want anybody to mislead me, because if I believe that I'm doing the right thing and I present it to my community as something that they should do also, you best believe if you mislead me that I'm going to, that's very personal to me. So I do my absolute best to make sure that those relationships stay intact.
Talk a little bit about the relationship between the barber and the client. People just unload their lives when they sit in your chair sometimes, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm going to tell you, Shayla, some things I've heard I really didn't care to hear, but, that it just speaks to people's level of comfort. And getting a haircut, it's almost like an intimate thing, because we're touching people, you know what I mean? We're touching in areas that, if anybody else is, touch your face or head or chin or, people like, what are you doing? But, barber and customer relationships are like that. So that's kind of like, it's just like that, like unspoken, hey, I trust you. I know you here for me. You know what I mean? Take care of me. I get people that, are so comfortable, they doze off in the chair, knowing for sure that, when they come to, that they're going to look good. They're going to feel good. And, like I said, those relationships mean a lot. And that's why I say I nurture them. I take care of them. I make absolutely certain that I'm doing my absolute best and providing that service. I make sure that I'm doing my very best to give them straightforward and honest answers to the questions. I mean, not everything I can take care of, but if it's something that I don't know personally, I'm going to do my absolute best to connect people. You know what I mean? I get people coming to me all the time, because they've heard about the different things that we do in the shop. They know, me from a personal, standpoint. So it's almost kind of, me and one of my buddies that come to the shop, I don't know if you ever heard this thing, like, so you get like these famous rappers, you know what I mean? Somebody like and, people, that are not on his level, if they want to get their stuff out there, like, please, can you listen to, here's my mixtape, you know what I mean? Take my mixtape. I get that all the time. People always come to me, hey, Teto, this is what I'm trying to do. Can you connect me? Can you plug me? And I do my very best. I can't handle everything. You know what I mean? I'm not steeped in every single area, but I do my absolute best to make sure that I give people the resources or connect them to the resources that I can.
When you look at where you started and you look at where you are, what are you most proud of when you look at your journey?
What am I most proud of? Wow, that's a loaded question. Coming into North Minneapolis, like I said earlier, I didn't know how it was going to be received. But what makes me proud is that people actually trust me and they believe in it. People look forward to. It sounds strange that, sometimes people don't want to have, a heap of expectations, laying on them. But I actually do. I actually enjoy it. It can be overwhelming at times, but it's self-inflicted, because I want to be that person that people trust and that person that people look forward to. You know what I mean? Because if people come into you all the time, then they believe in you, they trust you. So it just is. I'm proud that I've been, just received so well in the community, and thanks to you and other people, our story has just gone just wide and far, and people know that Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists is a place that they can come to. We built a family shop. You know what I mean? When you come in my shop, I want people to feel welcome. I want people to feel comfortable. I want people to feel like, if there's a little boy that, wants a haircut, his little sister can come along. You know what I mean? We're not just in there, a bunch of men just talking all kind of foolish, reckless stuff. We are a family shop that looks out for the community. And that's what makes me proud that I've been able to build that and sustain that over the years.
How did you end up becoming a barber? Is that something you always wanted to do?
So, my barber story, So when I was a young boy, my teenage years, me and my friends, there was four of us, used to run the streets, play basketball, do a little stupid stuff, whatever. But the one of the guys in my crew he was the barber. And, he used to cut all of our hair, like weekly. You know what I mean? I was very, like, now I have my head shaved. I do it at once a week. So I've always been this once a week haircut guy. And over time, he got tired of cutting all our hairs. He wasn't getting paid for it or whatever. So I started practicing on my own hair. And then I started cutting my brother's and my friend's hair. So I knew it was a talent that I had. And so I'm going to tell you something, Shayla, a lot of people may be surprised. Cutting hair now is not my passion. I love cutting hair and I can do it. I can do it well. But my passion is around community. And cutting hair allows me to be connected to community. But, but like I said, we started off just in the basement with some little cheap Walmart clippers, you know what I mean? And cutting hair, and I just got good at it over the years.
As someone who literally started from where they are, what advice would you give to somebody else that's watching and they have this great idea that they're sitting on because they think they don't have 500 different things they think that they need to just start? Just taking the first step and seeing where that leads. Can you offer some advice to the person that's out there and afraid to begin?
No matter where you're starting from, I would say you just gotta believe in yourself. You know what I mean? Believe in yourself, be authentic, be real, and just do it. A lot of times, we think we gotta know like all of these things or all of these people, before we can get started. But it's, as you go, that's how we grow. We learn people and we learn things along the way. We learn what doesn't work. Hey, I started off, there's some things that I thought that I was going to do when I first started, and I realized that doesn't work, or that's not really what I want to do. So over time, you figure it out over time, but being committed is where it starts. Being comfortable in, uncomfortable situations. You know what I mean? Being comfortable in those uncomfortable situations helps you grow, and it helps you stretch, and it helps you learn more about yourself, and it shows you what you're really built of. You know what I mean? What you can really withstand, and just keep going. Believe in yourself. Be true, be honest, and be real. That's where relationships start, and that's how they are maintained. Just sticking in there and, being prepared for the no's or being prepared for all that. Just, I invested a lot in that, whether it was time, money, other resources, whatever, and it didn't work. That's the way life goes sometimes. So you have to be prepared for that and still stick with it. Yeah, I get up every morning. Some days are really slow at the shop, and that could discourage the person. They're thinking, how am I gonna, take care of my expenses or whatever. You have to keep going. You know what I mean? There's an old saying, build it and they will come. So I just build it and people come, and people come for more than just haircuts now. People come for the different services. People come for conversations. People come for advice. People come for everything that we offer them.
I mean, not everyone can say that, I am my own boss, but something that you started with, your friends doing haircuts, not wanting to do it anymore, you picking it up from there and learning the skill. You've taken a skill and created an entire livelihood for yourself that's not only supporting you and your family, but supporting your larger community. And it takes courage to just start, because sometimes people will get in their head and they say, oh, I've never seen anybody that made it before, so maybe I can't make it too. But sometimes you have to be a trailblazer and be the first one so that someone can follow your lead too.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. You got to believe in yourself. Know what you want to do, write it down on paper, and get in act.
One of the things that you started, and we've talked about it before, is your scholarship program. And you launched that out of the experience you had with your own daughter. And this has become just a great access point to connect other children in North Minneapolis to opportunities too. Can you talk a little bit about how it began and how it's going?
So I watched my daughter when she was, first applying for her first grants and scholarships and all that stuff for college. And, a lot of the scholarships she got, some she didn't get, and people or organizations that create scholarship funds, they set the rules around, how you get it. They, create the criteria or whatever. And some of the criteria I looked at, I was like, that's strange. Some of it based on your zip code and, just all sorts of stuff. And so, I knew what position that I was in. So, whatever scholarships or grants my daughter didn't get or was going to get, I knew I'd be able to fill in the gap for her financially. Okay. Me living here in North Minneapolis and running my business here in North Minneapolis, there are some people that just don't have that extra cushion to make up. You know what I mean? It could be $500, $1,000, or whatever it is. Some families just don't have it. And so, you have some families that, it's literally a decision about, paying our bills, you know what I mean? Or, paying our bills and sending our kid to school. And so, me knowing that and realizing that, that families need help, I decided to start the scholarship. And, when it first started, it's literally just going to be $500. You know what I mean? $500 split. $1,000 split between two students, African-American male, African-American female. So they're going to get $500 each. The word got out about it, and it that first year I thought I was really on to something. I ended up getting like $6,000. I was so excited. You know what I mean? Like, wow, I put this out here, and I'm telling you, Shayla, I didn't ask for any donations. I just started the scholarship, and someone from the Minnesota Spokesman Reporter heard about it, and we did an interview. And, money poured in. I'm like, this is great. So we literally just, we gave out all the money. I was so excited. I haven't done that again. Yeah. But, we were so excited about getting the story out there and then having more money to give more students. So we end up in that first year giving away $5,000 to 5 different kids. And so it's grown, of course, over the years with your help. You know what I mean? A lot of people make donations all the time. So ultimately, the goal is to be able to send, some kids to school fully paid for. That's our ultimate goals. And we're building towards that. When people believe in you and they support what you do, you're able to dream bigger. And, you can dream bigger even without it. But knowing that you have that support, knowing that people believe and that buy in to what you do, you know what I mean? That helps you to be able to dream bigger, because, if you get more, you're able to give more. And that's where we're at. We've gotten a whole lot since then. And so our plan is to keep giving and giving out more and more over the years. So it's, like I said, it just started off as something like it's going to be something simple, just to make sure I'm just filling in a small gap for some North Minneapolis students. And, just like you said, the dream has gone bigger, and we really want to be in a position to pay completely for, some kids to go to school. And that would be amazing. When we get to that point, that's going to be game changing. You know what I mean?
You're officially the owner of the space that you're in. How does that feel when you turn that key every day and walk in?
Shayla, it really feels amazing. So it was on my list. You saw, I write down, my goals all the time, beginning of the year, middle of the year, whatever, I write them down. And I wrote down, I think it was last year, 2021, I wrote down that goal in March, that I wanted to buy a building for Wilson's Image Barbers and Stylists. I didn't know where it's going to come from. I didn't know what building, that I was going to buy. I had no clue that the building right next door that I had an opportunity 4 years ago to purchase, I had no clue that it was going to become available. And, it's amazing when you forecast, you put it out there. You know what I mean? You put it out there and you pray about it and you just leave it. And you're making steps, working towards it along the way. You know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't know. I knew I was in a position, you know what I mean, a better financial position to get it, but I just didn't know that building was going to become available. And it's amazing that it literally is right next door, the same building that I lost that on 4 years ago. It turned around and came right back in my hands. It is absolutely amazing. It's a wonderful feeling. It just shows that, stick to it and it will come. Plan for it, it will come. And we're anchored, just right there in the community. That's another level of trust. You talk about all the things that we've done to garner and maintain this trust over the years with our community. That's another level of trust, because people can see, hey, you know what, this guy, he ain't leaving in the next, few months. He ain't leaving in the next couple of years. We're anchored. And it's about legacy building also. So now we have something to pass down to my children. You know what I mean? So we're there. We're there. It's an amazing, amazing feeling. And, I'm just so thankful to the owner that she was willing to sell it to me. And I'm thankful for God, that the opportunity came back around. When we win, we definitely are going to make sure that the community wins as well.
Thank you so much, Teto, for sharing your journey with me. That's been the most beautiful part about the Let's Chat series. We don't always get to stop and have these kinds of conversations with people we hear about in our community. Maybe we see them on television, maybe we read about them online or meet them on social media. And so it's so fascinating to get to really connect with folks like you who are really making a difference, not just here or there, but they are committed to the communities they call home, the customers that they serve, and really are taking ownership of, their footprint in North Minneapolis and South Minneapolis, wherever corner of the community they call home. And they're really committed to making that place better and doing whatever they can to make sure that community they call home is left a little bit stronger than it was before they came. So it's been really special to get to connect with folks like you and others I'm meeting through this series, because that's the message that rings loud and clear. No matter all the challenges that the city may be tackling and all the things we don't have answers for, there are so many dedicated folks that are committed to the community they call home. They're not leaving. They're trying to figure out, how do I make this place I call home better? Because to everyone, this place called home is worth fighting for. Thank you all so much for joining me for this episode of Let's Chat. I will see you next time. Take care, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.